third episode of Daredevil Born Again managed to catch our attention again with unexpected cameos and a tragic death. There was no action in this episode compared to the first two episodes, but it was gripping. The episode focuses on Hector Ayala's case. As in the Netflix series, Matt Murdock's performance in winning the case was magnificent. As for the end of the episode, did we see the Punisher? A lot happened in this episode, and we need to talk about that. But before moving on to the video, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to be informed about other videos. In the last episode, they showed Matt Murdock saving Nicky Torres from the police and beating the police and knocking them down. However, he beat them so hard that I thought he broke one's arm and the other's neck. So I thought he killed them, but that's not what happened. Since Daredevil himself has a high hearing ability, he tries not to kill them by hearing their pulses. So the police managed to cover up this incident again in the third episode. Now they are doing everything they can to silence this informant named Nicky Torres, whatever information he have. When the police object to everything Matt Murdock said in court, Matt Murdock says he will present the informant named Nicky Torres as a witness. And there is a nice Easter egg in this scene. Here Matt Murdock says the following to the police officer whose eye he blackened.
You know, there's this thing they say in boxing, the best cure for a black eye is fast hands.
For those who don't know, Matt Murdock's father, Jack Murdock, was a very successful boxer. And I think his father told Matt this as advice, and Matt made a very nice remark in court. By the way, if you are familiar with Daredevil comics, you know that White Tiger's trial is taken from the comics. In Daredevil's Trial of the Century comic, Hector Ayala promised his wife that he would no longer be White Tiger. However, when he took action to stop a robbery, he was caught red-handed by the police, as if he were the thief. And just like in the series, he was accused of killing a police officer. In the comics, Matt Murdock was his lawyer. However, although he was found innocent in the series, the jury found him guilty in the comics, and Hector panicked and grabbed a policeman's gun. As a result, he was shot by the police there. The same situations are handled in the series, but they are handled a little differently. By the way, in this scene, we see another police officer with a Punisher tattoo on his neck. This means that most people working in the police department have this symbol. So why do these police officers have the Punisher symbol? I don't think the real Punisher is behind this. I think these are police officers hired by the Kingpin, and they get Punisher tattoos. Those who watch the comics or animations know that the Kingpin usually buys police officers. Most people working in the New York City Police Department serve the Kingpin. In other words, as can be understood from the last scene of the episode, Kingpin saw that Hector Ayala was released from court innocent and had him killed by someone with the Punisher symbol on his chest. In the second episode, Kingpin had already said that he would execute masked vigilantes who acted as heroes on the streets of New York. At the end of this episode, he gives an interview to BB Urich and says these things again. Anyway, I think these tattooed people are Kingpin's men, and they are tarnishing the real Punisher's name. Finally, Matt Murdock will find Frank, and they will go after this group to shed light on this issue. When Frank arrives, you already know what will happen. They will eliminate this group one by one. Matt Murdock still hasn't returned to his Daredevil identity. Although he thinks he will provide justice as a lawyer, we saw that there is still a devil inside him at the end of the second episode. So no matter how much he resists, he will eventually have to wear his costume again. He did his best to have Hector Ayala found innocent in court. However, he came to a dead end because the witness named Nicky Torres gave false testimony. So as a last resort, he announced that Hector Ayala was actually the White Tiger and that he was a hero. As in the second episode, there is a Spider-Man reference in this episode. While Matt Murdock mentioned the names of the police officers that Hector Ayala helped, he also mentioned a police officer named Officer Morales. As you all know, Miles Morales' father is a police officer in New York, and this was a reference to Miles Morales himself. We already knew that Miles Morales is in the MCU from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. In this scene, we saw Miles Morales' uncle, and he is known as Prowler and works for Kingpin. Although we do not see him as Prowler in the MCU, we saw him as the live-action Prowler in the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie. Marvel has not brought Miles Morales to the MCU yet because it is trying to expand Tom Holland's Spider-Man so far. That's why it makes small references to him. I don't think it even needs to bring him because the Spider-Verse animated series is completely based on Miles Morales. In a way, his coming to the MCU will mean putting Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the background. However, it would be great to see his Uncle Prowler working for Kingpin in this series. Anyway, when we look at the streets here, we see the Punisher emblem drawn everywhere. Also on a billboard shown at a stop, they showed an advertisement for the beverage company from the 2008 The Incredible Hulk movie. This is a company where Bruce Banner worked temporarily to earn money. In the second episode, we saw the same company's advertisement on the side while Fisk was talking to the public. Also in the episode, they show that Kingpin's wife Vanessa continues to run the crime organization. At this point, I started to think that she had a hand in Foggy's death in the first episode. Because Vanessa, like in the comics, has her eye on her husband's throne to get the nickname Queen Pin. I think she hired Bullseye to get rid of Matt Murdock and his friends. Their aim is to have all the gangs in New York under their control and use them when necessary. Moving on to the last scene, after Hector Ayala was found innocent and released, he was killed by someone with the Punisher symbol on his chest while chasing criminals on the streets as the White Tiger. The death of the White Tiger was inevitable anyway. In other words, Matt Murdock revealing Hector Ayala's identity was very dangerous for Hector, but he had to do it. And he himself was at the focal point of all criminals, including Fisk, and Fisk had him killed. In other words, if you are not Tony Stark and do not have the money and means to protect yourself, it is a very dangerous situation for yourself and your family. There was a quote from Bruce Wayne.
Why the mask? Protect the people closest to me.
Of course, the man's death was inevitable because of these results. If you don't know, the actor who played the White Tiger, in real life also lost his life due to cancer. However, this is not about his death in the series. He died after the shooting was over. In fact, the first 2 episodes start with a sentence saying, "In memory of Camar de los Reyes." If you are familiar with the comics, the character is always killed in the story, and his medallion goes to his nephew, and she becomes the White Tiger to avenge his uncle. If you don't know, you can think of this medallion as a medallion passed down from generation to generation, just like Black Panther, and they get their powers from this medallion. Since Hector died, we can now see his nephew as White Tiger. However, the person who will be the new White Tiger will not be Ava Ayala, whom we saw in the Spider-Man animation. I think Angela Del Toro, who worked with Daredevil in the comics, will be there. And just like in the comics, they will work with Daredevil in the series. She may think that his uncle's death was because of Matt Murdock and want to take revenge on Matt. Or Matt Murdock may hold himself responsible for this death and think that it is time to bring out the devil. Because he only wanted to save people by being a lawyer, but he saw that it was not like that. When it comes to the Punisher scene, I definitely don't think it is Frank. Those who know that Frank would never do such things. We see a scene in the main trailer. Matt goes to Frank to clarify everything, but we see that Frank is in his own state. So as I said at the beginning, these people with the Punisher symbol are working for Fisk and are using the Punisher name to tarnish this name. This episode was pretty good. Even though there was no action, it was gripping. We missed these court scenes and lawyer Matt Murdock a lot. What do you think about this episode? What did you like the most in this episode? Please don't forget to write in the comments. Thanks for watching up to this point, and if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to be informed other videos. See you in the next video.